Hello, learners, and welcome to another science class. On today's science class, we'll be talking about measuring liquids. Let's talk about measuring liquids. To measure liquids, we can make use of measuring tools like cups and spoons. Sometimes you can measure cooking recipes or science experiments using measuring spoons, using measuring cups and other measuring test tubes. Measuring liquids can be fun, it can be exciting, and it can also be educational. But just keep in mind that mostly to measure your liquids, you make use of cups, you make use of spoons and some other plastics for you to understand measurements. Now, what are the things we measure? Just like I said earlier, you can measure cooking recipes or cooking ingredients to make it easy for you to understand. Some science experiments also need measuring tools for you to measure before you actually continue with your experiments. You have to measure the liquids. And you can also measure your water, your drinks, and different types of beverages. So many liquids can be measured. Here is a measuring liquid timeline. Now we are just talking about some years and the type of measuring tools that we discovered. In 2000, the first measuring tools were discovered. They developed some basic liquid measuring devices. In 2005, some standard units were also discovered, some standard units of measurement for liquid. In 2010, there were some digital innovation. In 2010, that means some digital measuring devices for liquids were introduced. In 2015, there were educational resources. Some resources were created for teaching measuring of liquids. And in 2020, there was the interactive learning that implemented games that can help for measuring liquids, that can help us to learn more about measuring liquids. Let's talk about some tools for measuring our liquids. Like I said earlier, we can use cups. There are some cups and some small jugs that have measuring scales on them. We can use spoon. We can use measuring jugs to measure our liquids. Learning to use these tools will help us to understand how much liquid we need to use for different recipe that we are of our cooking, or for different um things that we are experimenting on, because sometimes you can't just pour everything. You have to have a specific measurement. So measuring liquids helps you to know the specific measurements you need to use for your liquids. Now let's talk about units of measurements. That is, we have some units through which we measure our liquid. Liquids are usually measured in liters and milliliters, mostly using cups and small jugs. So we measure them mostly in liters and milliliters. You don't find them in meters. Meters are for those running though. Knowing these units help us compare different amounts of liquid easily and accurately. Now you can try and experiment with this. You can have some fun with liquids. You ask me how. You can experiment by mixing some liquids. You measure. When you measure using measuring cups, then you can mix together. You can even try your drinks. Maybe you want two combined flavors of drinks. You can use a measuring jug to measure the quantities you want, and then you pour it and mix together. So understand how to measure allows us to create something colorful and exciting mixtures too, and it makes our learning fun and also interactive. So have some fun with liquid. Thank you all for listening in today's science class. I believe by now you already know that to work with liquids, you have to use measurements. Measurements like cups, spoons, and test tubes, and others. Thank you all for your listening here once again. And I hope to see you all in the next science class. Do catch fun for today.